Hi, hello, it's me Rajna. This is my first session of video for all engineering and diploma freshers. If you have any doubts regarding this topic or if you want me to upload more videos regarding any other topic, please do comment below. Thank you. Before moving on to this topic, let me tell you in brief about what is valence electrons and covalent bonding. What is a valence electron? Let us take an example of silicon. I have shown here diagrammatically the arrangement of electrons in each shell. First shell consisting of 2 electrons, second shell consisting of 8 electrons, and the third shell, that is the final shell, outermost shell, consisting of 4 electrons. So the electrons in the outermost shell is called valence electrons, and the number of electrons in the outermost shell is called its valency. The first shell electrons, which is tightly bound to the nucleus, consist of only very small amount of energy. But the last shell, which is loosely bound to the nucleus, consists of greater amount of energy and they can be easily extracted out. Since they consist of greater amount of energy, they can be easily extracted out and they take part in the chemical bonding. What is a covalent bond? Let us take an example of chlorine atom, which consists of 7 electrons in the outermost shell. So this chlorine atom requires one more electron to become octet and stable. So what they will do is, they share this one electron with another chlorine atom in order to become octet and stable. Since they share 1 electrons each, it is called single covalent bond. What is a double covalent bond? Let us take an example of oxygen atom, which consists of 6 electrons in the outermost shell. So it requires, that is, each oxygen atom requires 2 more electrons to become octet and stable. So what they will do is, they share these 2 electrons with another oxygen atom in order to become octet and stable. Since they share 2 electrons each, they are called double covalent bond. What is an energy band? That is, electrons in the same orbit itself exhibits different energy levels. Each electrons will be having different energy levels, and if we group these different energy levels, we'll get energy band. There are various types of energy bands, and here we'll discuss about 3 important types of energy bands. One is valence band, second one is conduction band, and third one is forbidden band or forbidden gap. What is a valence band? The energy levels of valence electrons will be different. That is, each valence electrons will be exhibiting different energy levels. If we group these different energy levels, they form valence band. That is, range of energy levels of valence electrons. While grouping this range of energy levels of valence electrons forms valence band. What is conduction band? The energy levels of free electrons will be totally different from each other. That is, each free electrons exhibits different energy levels. If we group this range of energy levels of free electrons, it forms conduction band. That is, if we apply some form of external energy to the electrons in the valence band, they become free. These free electrons exhibits different energy levels, and while grouping this range of energy levels, creates conduction band. Under normal condition, valence band is full and conduction band is empty. But if we apply some form of external energy, electrons in the valence band jumps to the conduction band and becomes free electrons. While jumping, they have to cross. The electrons in the valence band have to cross an energy gap. This energy gap is called forbidden gap or forbidden band. Under three criteria, we can classify the materials into conductors, semiconductors and insulators. What are the criteria? One is based on the energy band theory. Second one is based on the current conduction of materials. And the third one is based on the width of energy gap. We can classify the materials into three types. Here is the energy band diagram of conductors, semiconductors and insulators. First we will discuss about the energy band diagram of conductors. Here there is no energy gap between valence band and conduction band. That is, they overlap with each other. There is zero forbidden gap. So without any extra energy, there will be large number of free electrons in the conduction band. Next is all about insulators. There is a wide energy gap between valence band and conduction band. So because of this wide energy gap, there will be no free electrons in the conduction band. In the case of semiconductors, there will be less energy gap between valence band and conduction band, and at 0 degree Kelvin they act as perfect insulators because there will be no free electrons in the conduction band. But if we provide some form of external energy, that is in the form of temperature, electricity, light, they act as conductors. That is, there will be large amount of free electrons in the conduction band and they act as conductors. Next is all about the classification of semiconductors. Based on the addition of impurities, they can be classified into two types. Semiconductors can be classified into two types. One is intrinsic semiconductor and second one is extrinsic semiconductors. First we will discuss about intrinsic semiconductors. They are pure form of semiconductors. That is, at 0 degree Kelvin, all electrons will be there in the valence band. That is, valence band will be full and conduction band is empty. But at room temperature, that is at 300 degree Kelvin, approximately 300 degree Kelvin, all electrons in the valence band jumps to the conduction band, leaving behind a hole in the valence band. So if we apply some form of external energy, electrons in the valence band jumps to the conduction band, leaving behind a hole in the valence band. Number of electrons reaching the conduction band is always equal to number of holes created in the valence band, which is equal to number of electrons is equal to number of holes is equal to number of intrinsic particles. This formula is very important. Suppose consider a 1 million atom which consists of 1000 number of electrons and 1000 number of holes. So number of intrinsic particles is not equal to 2000. It is always either the number of electrons or number of holes, that is 1000. Here is the definition of hole. Hole is always a vacancy created by an electron. That is vacancy of electron, and it always tries to attract an electron. This is the definition of hole. And the electrons reaching the conduction band is free to conduct. Thus, the conductivity formed by intrinsic semiconductor is not sufficient for the preparation of various electronic devices. So, in order to make it more conductive, a small calculated amount of impurity is added to the intrinsic semiconductor to make it more conductive, and this creates extrinsic semiconductor. So this process of adding impurity is called doping. Here is an intrinsic semiconductor connected externally by a voltage source. The holes being positively charged gets attracted towards the negative terminal of battery, and electrons being negatively charged. Holes being positively charged always gets attracted towards the negative terminal of battery, and electrons being negatively charged, they always gets attracted towards the positive terminal of battery. And this negative terminal of battery is the source of electrons, and these electrons reaches the point A, and here electron hole recombination takes place. Some of the loosely bound electrons gets attracted towards the positive terminal of battery, reaching the point B, creates holes at this point B. And these holes being positively charged moves towards the point A, and which again recombines with the electrons created from the negative terminal of battery. So here the holes always tries to get attracted towards the negative terminal, and electrons gets attracted towards a positive terminal, and from this negative terminal electrons are produced and reaches the point A. This negative terminal is the source of electrons, which reaches the point A, recombines with the holes, and loosely bound electrons gets attracted towards a positive terminal, leaving behind holes at point B. These holes moves towards the negative terminal of battery, reaching point A, again recombines with the electrons created from the negative terminal of battery. Likewise, current flow takes place, and net current is due to both holes and electrons. But in the external circuit, flow of current is only due to the flow of electrons, since holes do not come out of the semiconductor. Let's discuss more about extrinsic semiconductor. As I said before, adding impurity to the intrinsic semiconductor creates extrinsic semiconductor. That is, only a calculated amount of impurity is added to the intrinsic semiconductor in order to make it extrinsic. Nearly 1 to 2 atoms of impurity is added for 10⁶ intrinsic atoms. Based on the impurities added, they can again be classified into 2 types. That is, extrinsic semiconductor can be classified again into 2 types based on the impurities added. One is N-type semiconductor and second one is P-type semiconductor. N-type semiconductors are nothing but, if we add pentavalent impurities, we will get N-type semiconductor. Pentavalent impurities are nothing but which have 5 electrons in the valence shell. Example, phosphorus, arsenic. P-type semiconductors are nothing but, if we add trivalent impurities, we will get P-type semiconductors. They have 3 electrons in its valence shell. Example, aluminium and gallium, etc. Here is the difference between extrinsic semiconductor and intrinsic semiconductor. This is one of the important questions. First point is intrinsic semiconductors are pure, that is no impurities are added here. Extrinsic semiconductors are prepared by doping, that is impurities are added to the intrinsic semiconductor in order to make extrinsic. Examples of intrinsic semiconductors are silicon and germanium. And examples of extrinsic semiconductors are arsenic, phosphorus, boron, aluminum, etc. Number of free electrons in the conduction band is always equal to number of holes in the valence band. That is, for intrinsic semiconductors, number of free electrons is always equal to number of holes. But in the case of extrinsic semiconductors, number of holes is not equal to number of electrons. In the N-type, electrons are excess, and in P-type, hole are excess. Electrical conductivity of intrinsic semiconductor is always low, and electrical conductivity of extrinsic semiconductor is always high. And for the intrinsic semiconductor, the electrical conductivity is only the function of temperature, and the intrinsic semiconductor, the conductivity depends both on its temperature as well as impurities added. Let's discuss more about N-type semiconductor. This is the formation of covalent bond in N-type semiconductor. I have taken arsenic as an N-type impurity which is added to the intrinsic structure. I have taken silicon as an example of intrinsic semiconductor. Since arsenic is pentavalent impurity, that is, it has a valency of 5, it forms covalent bond with the 4 electrons in silicon. That is, arsenic is having a valency of 5. The 4 electrons of arsenic forms covalent bond with the 4 electrons of silicon, and the 5th electron is not taking part in any of the bond formation, and it is a free electron. So every impurity atom added to the structure donates a free electron to the structure. They have an extra electron. So in the N-type semiconductor, electrons are always majority carriers and holes are minority carriers. Here is the representation of charge carriers in N-type semiconductor. Since the impurity added to the structure always donates an extra electron, it is called donor ion, which is immobile. What it is donating? An extra free electron, which is a mobile charge carrier. Next, we will discuss about P-type semiconductor. Here is the formation of covalent bond in P-type semiconductor. I have taken boron as an example of trivalent impurity, which is added to the intrinsic structure, that is silicon structure. Since it is a trivalent impurity, it is having a valency of 3. This boron, the 3 electrons of boron forms bond with the 3 silicon atom. And there is a vacancy for an electron for the bond formation with the electron in silicon. Since boron is having a valency of 3, only 3 electrons form bond formation with the silicon, and there is a vacancy for an electron for the bond formation with the electrons in silicon. This vacancy for an electron is called hole. So every impurity atom added to the structure creates an extra hole. So here in the P-type semiconductor, holes are majority carriers and electrons are minority carriers. Here is a representation of charge carriers in P-type. Since the impurity added to the structure creates an extra hole, and holes always tries to attract an electron, it is called acceptor ion. and what it is creating? A hole, which is a mobile charge carrier, and the acceptor ion is immobile charge carrier. These holes are mobile charge carriers. They can move and always tries to attract an electron, and there it creates a hole again. From where they get an electron, it creates a hole again at that point. Thus, this holes moves from one position to other and always tries to attract an electron. Here is the differentiation between N-type semiconductor and P-type semiconductor. It is also a very important question. First point is of N-type. That is, N-types are obtained by doping the impurity atoms of fifth group of periodic table to the pure intrinsic semiconductor, that is either germanium or silicon. And the P-type are obtained by doping the impurity atoms of third group of periodic table to the intrinsic structure. Second point of N-type is impurity added always provide extra electrons in the structure called donor atoms, and in the P-type they always provide extra holes called acceptor atom. In the N-type, electrons are majority carriers and holes are minority carriers, and in the P-type, electrons are minority carriers and holes are majority carriers. And electron density in the N-type is always greater than electron density, hole density. That is, in the N-type, electron density is greater than hole density, and for the P-type, hole density is greater than electron density.